In the last video, we ended up getting the tail hinge cut into place and welded along with the rear bumper, along with all of our hydraulic hookups for a manure tanker. We've got our taillight brackets that we had welded on here as well. Now what we're going to do is we're going to move forward up into the middle of the truck frame, and we're going to reinstall the air tanks. There's two that were mounted on each side, and they were mounted where this hoist is currently sitting on the frame. So we're going to take a few bolts out here. We've got a pair here and a pair there, along with these three bottom ones. The hydraulic valve is going to set in this section here. So we're going to drill a plate, bolt to the truck frame to weld our bracket onto to mount the hydraulic valve body. And then the air tank we're going to mount in these holes here, same with on the other side. However, what we're going to need to do is drill an additional hole into this bracket. And then the smaller tanks, they're going to mount on the inside, and we're going to use, I think I can use these same holes and bolt everything all together here. So what I have is a piece of 3/8 by 4 flat bar that we're going to match up to those holes, get the holes drilled into this, and then we're going to build our valve body bracket off of that. So we need to remove these bolts, mark our holes, and get these air tanks back on there along with the bracket for the valve body. Well, we have our piece cut. We've got it clamped on the frame. And then instead of measuring, I've got it centered. I measured the height. And then what I did is I just took a drill bit, the exact same size as the hole that's in the frame, put it in my cordless drill, came through the holes and just drilled in a little bit and put a center hole. That way, there's not a lot of goofy measuring, going back and forth and centering and up and down and every other damn thing. So now that we've got the holes marked, we can take that piece over, put it on the bench, and drill the 4 holes with the mag drill. Now, I probably could get that little mag drill inside this frame rail, but this side just happens to be the side that has all the air lines that run down it, and rather than dealing with trying to muscle that in there and get it all in just right, we'll just take it off and put it over on the bench and drill it over there. Okay, so we have our flat stock piece in place. I don't have this back hole, this back bolt into it. We've got these 3 in there. I've got 1 bolt with a nut on it to hold it tight. When I tightened that up, I did have a bolt in back here so that everything was in line. We've got our tank supports bolted with the top bolt. Now, we're just gonna mark it with a drill. It's easier to mark it than it is to measure, remember? So I'm just gonna sneak in here, I'll show you. We'll stick the camera over here. We're just gonna stick this bit in this hole. We got that one marked. Now we will mark this hole. So we have both pieces removed and they're sitting on the bench. I've got one already clamped down. We're gonna hit that with a drill, and that's what our little indentation looks like. Now this material is only 10 gauge, so it's gonna drill rather easy. We'll go ahead and drill a hole in each one of these, and then I have to mark out a piece of flat stock to get in behind that one because we're stepped out 3/8 of an inch. So we're gonna run a flat bar down through, and maybe we could put a loom holder or something on it for hoses. So we'll drill this. We have both of these drilled, and they are going to now match the holes that we already have in the frame. Now what I need to do is I could put washers in behind this bolt, or I could just put another piece of flat bar there. But I need to put a piece of flat bar here to kind of take up the shim difference, or I could put washers in behind there. Maybe I'll just put washers in behind there to shim that out so that it's got 3/8 of an inch of room from the truck frame. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing with this bracket here. We're going to have to modify this so that it fits the same holes as the other brackets there. So we're going to mount this tank on the inside and then the other tank on the outside. Well, we've got our air tanks mounted. Now we're going to remount the air dryer. I went ahead and removed these 6 bolts here, and that's where we're going to mount the dryer. The dryer was mounted in this spot here, so we're just going to move it up to this spot. I didn't really like it back here because of all the tire and wheel traffic there. It's just going to throw mud on top of it, and although I could bolt it back there, we're just going to move it up. We don't have to drill any holes in the frame, but we do have to drill a couple of holes in that air dryer bracket. It was mounted a little lower. If we mount in these 3 holes, which that meets the bracket, these 3 holes down here, we'll just mark the bracket, and then we'll just drill new holes into it. Well, we've got our holes marked. Now this material is only 1/4 of an inch thick. We were into some material yesterday that was only 1/8 of an inch thick, and the drill wanted to wander on that. The magnet, it wanted to pick itself up off of there. So we'll see how this does on 1/4 inch. Alright, it did want to pick itself up off of there, but we don't have the whole drill on the workpiece anyway, so that could be a contributing factor to it as well. So we'll try this spot here. About the same. It wanted to pull itself up off of there. What we're trying to do is get the plug to push out. The magnet is released. Get it on to where we got a drill here. Alright, we've got our holes drilled. We'll just go over and bolt this onto the side of the truck frame. right, now all we have to do is just hook all of this stuff back up. Some of the lines we're gonna have to lengthen, and some we're gonna have to shorten. We'll get everything all hooked back up here, and then we will, well, we can get working on the hydraulic tank, and I do have to go back to that side and get the hydraulic valve body bracket made up and get that on there. Well, we've got everything to do with the air tanks and the air dryer all back on there. We've got all of the air lines hooked up except one. I've got this 1 3/4 inch line that's going to come over into this top tank. I lack about 3 or 4 feet. I didn't have any of that air line. I don't know why, but we didn't have any. For the most part, all of the other lines, they just had to get cut off because these tanks were this far back on the frame. It would have been a lot cheaper if they would have moved everything way up here for them, and they wouldn't have had as much into assembling this truck. So what we're doing now is we are ready to install the hydraulic reservoir. This is a 50-gallon aluminum tank. I have taken 2 bolts out of this cross member on the back side of this cross member, and I have taken just, well, there was 2 bolts just sitting in the frame here, just 2 holes drilled. So remove those bolts. I've got the brackets on there. I removed these 6 bolts here that hold this cross member and the frame, and I removed those so that we can get this mag drill in. We've got to drill 4 holes. So we're going to go ahead and get in there, drill those, and then we can set our tank up on there and get it into place. So far we have done all of the drilling on this job with this V-bore drill, except I think I drilled 2 holes the other day to just kind of show you a comparison between it and the Milwaukee drill. Now we do have the Milwaukee drill sitting on the bench there, just it's on deck, but this has been a pretty good drill. Now will it live to the test of time here like that one has for 20 to 25 years? I don't know, but it is handy because it's nice and light. It can get right in there. The Milwaukee would, I think I can get into that hole there, but I still had to remove the bolts. So let's go ahead, get this mag drill set up, drill the holes, get our bolts in, and then set our tank.